Everyone in the guitar community has gone crazy for Polyphia's Tim Henson, but what I wanted to discover is, how does he play so freaking fast? So I studied how he plays the track Playing God, and here's 5 things that I found out. Number 1, if you want to play basketball, being tall is an unfair advantage. If you want to be a jockey, being small is an unfair advantage. As a guitarist, one fairly obvious unfair advantage is having long, thin fingers. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that you can't become a world-class guitarist with smaller fingers. Randy Rhoads, Prince, and Steve Lukather had or have smaller hands. And there's those North Korean kids. But Tim Henson is a big-handed guy. It's almost impossible to play some of Polyphia's riffs without big hands. In the Playing God riff, for example, there's a stretch from the 8th fret on the 6th string to the 13th fret on the 2nd string. And it'd be very difficult to play that riff with small hands. But even with big hands, it's not possible to get awkward chord voicings right without this next thing. And here Tim takes a page from classical guitarists who regularly play awkward, long, stretched chords. Here's pro classical guitarist Anna Vidovich playing cavatina. If we stop it there, let's compare it to how an amateur classical guitarist plays it. Can you spot the difference? Okay, it's an old video of me. Have you spotted it yet? It's the thumb. The thumb is one thing that beginners and intermediates are regularly getting into positions that really slow them down. In classical guitar, you're taught to put the thumb directly behind the middle finger. And if you look at the best classical guitarists, from the front, you rarely see their thumb. And by keeping the thumb down and around halfway behind the neck, it means wide stretches become possible. For example, I can stretch 6 frets if I keep my thumb down, but if my thumb is higher up, it becomes more like 4 frets. If you watch Tim Henson's videos, it's really uncommon for the thumb to pop up, and this allows him to get into those extraordinary positions. When you're a beginner on guitar, it's impossible to even get a basic C chord right without getting some bum notes. As you get better, you can hit clean notes more consistently, but still one of the hardest notes to hit accurately are natural harmonics. With natural harmonics, you need to put your finger exactly over the fret, and then take it off at exactly the right time. The margin for error is really small, and if you get it right, you get this lovely cascading waterfall of notes. But if you get it wrong, it sounds like pots and pans clashing together. So to play them consistently and at high speeds, Tim uses this hybrid picking technique, where he alternates between his pick and mainly his middle finger. And he even does it live. It's amazing. Oh God, I sound like such a fanboy. If you're finding this video helpful, please help me out by giving it a like. It takes an extraordinary amount of time for a guitarist to get control of their fingers. A less experienced guitarist's fingers always end up popping up unexpectedly. In my private lessons, if I start teaching a new student who's been playing for maybe a couple of years or so, I ask them first to play this simple chromatic scale. Just by playing these 8 notes, you can get a pretty good idea of how well a student can control their fingers and keep them down. In this part of Playing God, Tim can achieve this blistering speed because all his fingers are staying really close to the fretboard, which have taken a lot of committed practice to get right. In watching it though, one thing that's really weird to me is how much control he has over his index finger. And it's held in exactly that position a few millimeters above the fretboard, and it's just waiting its turn to be called upon. I've never seen someone have so much control over a finger. Number 5. Speaking about fast runs, let's look at that picking. There's an extremely small range of motion on that pick. It's like he's giving the strings a little tickle. It looks like he's altered picking all the way through. And all the notes are as clean as a pearl. And if you want to see how you should go about learning one of Polyphia's hardest riffs, I'll check out this video next. And a big thanks to my VIP patron.